Hello, everybody. I see you all out there. We've got people in Israel, Ireland, Spain, Liverpool, Thailand, mainland China, United States, Canada. Good to see everybody here. And today is tax day in the United States. It's a sucky day, but normally people are always worried about, tax selling, bringing crypto market down. But no, other things brought the market down. So it didn't have any impact this year. Anyway, let's get into the story today and see what's going on around the world. This one is called Cross and Air Pockets. And I got a pipe banging somewhere underground. I got to figure that out. Anyway, let's get into that. Should be Death Cross, by the way. Somehow the Death Skull doesn't show up. I don't know why that is. Anyway, Death Cross is the title. Let's get into the story and not financial advice. And thank you, Investor Carl. 5 years of fandom and a proud Patreon member here. Woohoo. Thanks for being part of the team. Let's talk about the ugly news first. First of all, the power of centralization is quite terrifying. Both Binance and KuCoin were taken down because AWS, Amazon Web Services data center, had an outage. And Binance, as a result, actually suspended withdrawals to keep user funds safe. Whenever you hear the word safe anywhere in crypto, it's always a red flag. So be careful out there. Anyway, hopefully that disruption is past. I haven't been following it, but this is the danger of centralized machinery. ETH also uses AWS and many other places, so be careful out there. Also, meet Ohm's John Mullin. He is now a legend, very unpopular, the CEO of the biggest scam, and he's in some very competitive, how do I say, territory, because a lot of scammers in crypto, but apparently he had planned, according to this thread from Solana Gambling Board to Board. It's a really interesting thread when you see how these people operate. And you know what's kind of crazy is they are so twisted in their minds, they think they can get away with it. This guy will be shunned by the planet for the rest of his life. Who would ever do that? I don't know. It's kind of bizarre. Anyway, and the compendium score on this thing, Ohm was always in the toilet. And that's why it's very important to look at tokenomics, because you were exposed by these people. $6 billion rug. Wow, crazy. Anyway, token unlocks. Some of the usual suspects here. Eigen is always there. IOTA is always there. Arbitrum is always there. ASTR, ApeCoin is always there. Trump is a big one this week. Trump coin over 20% unlock. I don't know if anybody holds that. I don't know. FTN is there too a little bit. 5% unlock. UX Link, 11% unlock. Some of these things I'd never even heard of, by the way. IMX, Immutable X, 1.37%. Mocha's there, but it's tiny, so don't worry about it. So that is the kind of unlock story so far. And sadly as well, in the ugly news, flows by assets still down. Digital asset funds still down, sort of big for the week. We had Ethereum, second largest outflow ever last week, nearly $40 million. Solana, Sui, Aave had little outflows, but again, outflows across the board for digital assets, with the exception of XRP. I don't know what it is with that thing. They had inflows of 3.5 million, and that's kind of where we are. So with the money going down, but it's got to turn around soon. A lot of other good stuff. We'll get to that in a minute. And the top 50 performance over the last 30 days. Actually, over the last 30 days, kind of interesting here. Solana has outperformed Bitcoin. So this could be the first little teaser, and I've been tweeting a bit about this too, that maybe alt season is in the running, because Solana is the first mover. It used to be Bitcoin ran first and then ETH would follow, etc. But ETH has just been out to lunch, let's say, the last couple of years. And I don't mean to cast any aspersions, but this is the first time in many months that Sol has actually beat Bitcoin on a monthly basis. So, and it's been down a lot. And then other names there as well. Let me see. I can't quite read. Is that Render on the top left? I think so. Anyway, certain things are moving back and certain things are really terrible. And what you also see, actually, a very good point. This cycle is a little bit different, but when you see new coins coming out, people get excited with Mantra and the pies of the world and Ondos. I take the time to study the tokenomics and look at what is behind the scenes. Then look at the fundamental data of the adoption and the usage. And then don't touch them. Anything that launches in the latter part of the bull run is going to be a complete money grab. Be careful out there. This is a time to start preserving and profit taking, okay? Not the time to venture into new names or go YOLO into some crypto thing, because 99%, maybe 99.5% is a complete scam. So beware of that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming as well. Now, the bad news. Woohoo. Invested. Yeah, I did look at JNVR, but it all bounced in the first hour of launching on the news, and I don't see any reason to buy it. So I like to be in early. If I miss something, I don't chase it. Let's talk about ETFs. Slightly down last week, not too good. As you can see here, the main culprit were names like, as we covered before, I think it was nearly 800 million out. A lot of it was Bitcoin. A lot of it was Ethereum, etc. And the biggest, this is the total outflows, I think, since the beginning of Feb is about 7.2 billion. And that has wiped out year-to-date inflows. So basically, so far, 2025 is a wash for digital assets. Zero, fast start, then then somebody stuck a pin in the world with tariffs. And we've talked enough about those in here. Moving on. Fear and greed. There we are. It's creeping back every week now. It goes up another 5 points or so, 8 points. Invested, thank you for coming too. So things are looking good, and we've had so many bottom signals happening over the last couple of weeks. It's been great. And fear and greed is up from 4. Now it's at 20. Still extreme fear on the stock side, but about to go flip into fear. I pretty much guarantee next week, unless something terrible happens, we should be back in fear, and all the money is creeping in. I'll show you some charts on that in a while too. Another bad news as well. Tariffs push oil to a 4-year low. This is not good, because a lot of people look at things like oil, and when oil is down, it means the economy is weak. And this is from the IEA, and they slashed oil demand growth forecast from, I think it was about just over 1 million barrels a day to about under 750,000. And that is a huge haircut. That is nearly 30% haircut. And a lot of it is the negative impact of the US tariffs on trade. So global trade is grinding to a halt. Now, you consider oil like runs the big ships that move a lot of stuff around the world. That's probably a big part of it, I assume. And despite exemptions for oil and gas, there are also new concerns over inflation, slower economic growth, trade disputes, etc. So oil does not like it, and we are down below $60 a barrel, and we haven't been this low since 4 years, 2020. Whatever that was. Anyway, late 2020. So that's where we are with oil. Now, good news. Woohoo. We got through the ugly news. Crypto Dave wants, guys, this is cute. Is it birthday? Is it too much to ask for $100,000 Bitcoin on my birthday? It depends where it is, Dave. If your birthday is today, happy birthday. And sad to tell you, it's not going to happen today. But I do believe the run is still on. So happy birthday, everybody. Out there and having your birthday and tax day, that's got to be no fun. Anyway, good news. Crypto the last 7 days versus Bitcoin. Avalanche, Pi, and Solana all beat Bitcoin. Sui down, but basically Solana has a good recovery week, up 20% for the week. Bitcoin up 6% for the week. ETH up 3% for the week. Woohoo! XRP up 11%. And still a lot of mixed red signals, but you see, not everything is running at the same time, and that's important to note. Okay. And sometimes, not necessarily winning horses actually go up. It's very bizarre out there in crypto land. And another good news, we should just crack open the champagne. April turned positive. I did say last week it looked like it was about to turn around, and here we are. Bitcoin's up 1% so far for the month of April. Not bad. Historically, April is the second best month of the year after Moonvember. and we'll see what happens. This whole cycle, though, is a little bit out of sync. We had a terrible Feb. We had a 0 March, which is normally a pretty good month too. And April, we have half of the month left for some things to happen. And you also know what's happening March 1st? No, May 1st. Liquidity lag. 10, 11 weeks after all that liquidity, it starts trickling into Bitcoin. The price goes up. We'll see if that holds. 80% chance it will. So hold on. 2 more weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Have your seatbelts on and your moon boots fastened. Now, a little bit of a fun story here. Air pockets. Air pockets. We always talk about gaps and air pockets, CME gaps and air pockets and all this good stuff. But this one now we can visualize. This chart is from Check on Chain. James Check. We had a great interview. We're going to do that again as well. But now we can visualize how the distribution chart above has evolved over time via the heat map below. And this is a reflection of the density of invested dollars into Bitcoin. And if you notice the dark zone above 90K, a big chunk of these coins are in that 3 to 6 month age band, which are deciding not to capitulate at lower prices. So the people that bought in the 90K zone, the short-term holders, weathered the storm all the way down to 75K, and they did not sell despite being 15K in the hole or more. And that is extremely good. The other thing that's interesting about this chunk, this cohort of 3 to 6 months, very soon a large chunk of them will move over to long-term holders. And we are gradually backfilling the air pocket, although at a slow pace. But that air pocket is seen there. That big gap is going to get filled. And, you know, the hodlers are holding on. The new money is coming in and the whales are stacking. So all in all, this should be a good thing. Direction per this looks like up as the air pocket gets backfilled. Now, while you were scared as well, a lot of people are very scared. I tell you, like 20% of at least my audience was pretty convinced that the bear market was in, bull market was dead. But remember, always watch what the whales do. And these are the number of addresses holding between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin. It's gone up steadily since March 5th. By the way, I will be doing my wallet analysis hopefully on Thursday, where I look at all the evolution since 2020 of all the cohorts from plankton to shrimp to whole coiners, all the way up to whales and mega whales. And we'll see exactly what the sharks are doing and the octopus and everybody else. And that will give us a good sign as to if this market is still on. Because the big players, like I'm showing you now, they stack when prices are cheap. And when the tide turns to a bear market, they leave. They are not leaving this time. So that's also a good sign. Let me try to bring that chart a little back. Here, this is the whale address. The people that hold between 1,000 Bitcoin and 10,000 Bitcoin. And it's gone up steadily since March 5th, up from about 1900 to 2014 individual whales. And this whale accumulation is picking up at a pace. Last time we saw this pace pick up was April 2024, over a year ago. And this shows you renewed confidence from the large holders. Follow the big money. Okay? Do not follow the basement dwellers like myself. Follow the big money, the big whales. They know what's going on. And Bitcoin death cross. This is kind of interesting. A lot of people were fearful about the Bitcoin death cross. And as we know, death crosses at best work half the time or even less. But if you go back, death crosses for Bitcoin from 2015, we'll do one for Tesla as well in a few minutes. You can see here, sometimes you get one flashing and the performance is relatively flat. And then sometimes you get death cross and the market goes bombastic. And sometimes you get another death cross and the market goes bombastic again. And then, this is the crazy history for Bitcoin, we did get a death cross and it went down, and it went down badly. But that also coincided with the nasty bear market of late 2022 all through 2023. So yes, it can work. But if you look at all of these, what's that, 8 instances, once it went down bad. Now, And the last 3, it's gone up. In fact, we just had a death cross on Bitcoin, and we'll see what happens. But also, you have to take into account the macro here. I always say keep your head out the window, because the death cross was triggered probably by the tariff tantrums. No other reason. That was the reason. Everybody went risk off all across the board. Everything was sold across the board. So when you hear death cross and people saying, oh, we're all going to die, no, it's actually fine most of the time. So that's how it works. And another tiny glimmer of hope. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negative days for the ETFs. And then 11th of April, minus 1 million. Yesterday, plus 1.5 million. So the money seems to be tiptoeing back a little bit. The selling has stopped for these ETFs. Wait for the big hedge funds to come back in and play their carry trade. And it's still Bitcoin season down at 14. That means Bitcoin is smashing the top 50 altcoins in a big way. And that is the lowest level we've had since July 2024, ladies and gentlemen. So we know what happens next. It typically, 99% of the time, does not go any lower than this level. And then we go up. That's how it works. Narrative time, Bitcoin is the winner over the last month, up 3.3%. Ethereum down 13.8%. We had DePIN up 2.1%. Privacy coins up 1.1%. And Bridges up 0.2%. A lot of good stuff happening on Bridges and other things. Real world assets got completely slaughtered because of Mr. Mullin. I think it was Mr. Mullin, the guy from Mantra. Anyway, that took the whole RWA sector down, where Mantra had a huge position in that little index. Again, it just shows you one little name can implode and take everybody else down. Now, there is sadly a very bleak macro outlook out there as well. This is miscategorized. My bad. But sometimes when you have public data like this is the New York Manufacturing Survey, when everybody says the sky is falling, that means everything is kind of priced in, and normally the worst is taken account of. But the next 6 months fell down 44 points over the past 12 weeks. And that's the weakest level since 2001, and the second lowest level in the survey's history. And firms expect conditions to worsen in the months ahead, and pessimism is through the roof for everything. Macro business outlook, new orders, shipments, unfulfilled orders. It's ugly out there. So I'm hoping Jerome Powell and the Fed see that no, they'll tell you the economy is booming, but nah, the people in control of businesses are scared right now. Anyway, this is another cool chart. Solana beats all on DEX volume over the last 4 days. Ethereum is in number 2 slot, Base number 3. So it's good to see that Ethereum is now bigger than Base for once in a while. And Solana does more transactions than all of the chains combined. Whoops. Over the last 7 days, once again, Solana is not dead. It does everything across all of crypto. Okay? Black hole eats them all. And we have some great news. Shout out to the Canadians there too, like Clint, Thirsty Sponge, and everybody else. Here you can see Canada. Canada, by the way, I'm not sure why, but Canada are so advanced when it comes to building funds, when it comes to jumping on trends early. We talk a lot about treasuries and crypto treasuries. You got Bitcoin treasuries first, and now Sol treasuries are second. And the leading firms in Canada are building Sol treasuries like Sol Strategies, Neptune Digital, etc. But now the Canadians are going to launch the first Solana spot ETFs in Canada with staking, ladies and gentlemen. Woohoo! I always thought it was completely ridiculous to buy something like an ETH ETF and not get staking returns. Like, who would ever do that? Anyway, now we know. Nobody. But that's good news. And it's not just Canada. Hong Kong is also going to copy the Canadians, and they're going to allow staking services for crypto firms and ETFs too. So this is so important for the proof of stake chains going forward. So shout out to Canadians and those in Hong Kong too. Now, stocks, a little bit of stock news. The last 7 days, This looks like a green at the Masters, with the exception of, I think CVX. Is that Chevron? Yeah, I think it's Chevron. And I don't know what the Bank of New York. No, I don't know what that red thing is. And I can't read the numbers. Anyway, who cares? But the point is, great week for names like Tesla, up nearly 14%. Amazon, despite the outage, still up 4%. Apple, 17%. Apple got hammered with the tariff tantrums, and then they said, well, phones will be excluded and chips, etc. And then it got bounced right back. NVIDIA up 16.5%. Well done to anybody who sniped the bottom there at 88. Microsoft up 9%. So again, risk happens fast. And as I said before, the quicker things dump, literally the mirror images on the other side, the quicker they rebound. So remember that. When things fall fast, don't be afraid. Don't hide in your shell. That's when you deploy your cash and you stack, because they will bounce back fast. And we see that exactly here. Like I said, and there's a lot of ads from Tesla Chan. Shout out to Sanjay as well. Elon Musk said, for the first time, I hear the groans. I know Elon Musk is very unpopular, but if you understand what he does, he shouldn't be. And that's just it. Anyway, for the first time, there will soon be a generalized pure AI solution to full self-driving. This is it. All end-to-end Tesla, their AI chip, inference chip, their cameras, and the AI software, and the neural nets. And from Tesla Chan, Elon and Tesla's confidence is incredible. Can't wait. Again, first time, generalized pure AI solution is going to hit the planet. And it comes from a car company that's considered a consumer goods manufacturer. Hilarious. It's such a dream that nobody knows what's coming. So well done to everybody who has built their Tesla bag, especially lately. And speaking of death crosses, we have another one here. This is Tesla. A little bit similar to Bitcoin, but not exactly, because we talk about the 4-year rampages that Tesla goes on. It kind of consolidates for 3 or 4 years and then goes on a rampage, and it consolidates for 3 or 4 years and goes on a rampage. And now we're literally at the cusp of another rampage, and history tends to rhyme, and that's just how it works. But if we look at this, the history of the death crosses for Tesla, let's see what we come up with. But remember, don't worry, death cross sounds so ominous, but most of the time it's a very mixed signal. So we've been up 3 times, 2018, 2022, mid 2022, down 3 times, 2017, mid 2019, late 2022, and flat 3 times. That's it. So out of 9 times, 3 times it goes up after death cross, 3 times it stays flat after death cross, and 3 times it goes down. So again, don't worry about it. But here, it looks like odds are we probably go up. Now, there could be a dip with earnings, but it should all be completely priced in. But oftentimes, we'll see what happens. I think it'll probably go up. And hopefully they got a couple of surprises on Tesla Megapack business and FSD uptake as well. Let's see. Now, this is my little pictures in the way. NVIDIA plans on building $500 billion in AI infrastructure in the United States. And the Blackwell chips have already started production at TSMC's chip plants in Phoenix, Arizona. By the way, I don't know how they keep the factories cool in Arizona. Or if they have data centers there, I don't even know. But NVIDIA is also going to be investing a lot more with their partners to bring a lot of players to the table in the United States. And this will take away a lot of the risk that they have that, in the eventual situation that maybe China invades Taiwan, then TSMC has their, bets hedged, as it were, as we go forward. So that's also good news for NVIDIA. And finishing with a quick meme du jour. I saw this. I thought it was very funny. Fun fact, the reason your internal body temperature rises when you are infected is because viruses are using your body to mine for Bitcoin. Very, very, very poor Bitcoin joke, but I thought it was worth sharing. Sometimes you can't find really hilarious memes, but I thought that was good. All these videos are turned into podcasts. Thank you to the people all over the world and our wonderful moderators, TND Tesla, K8, Sean D, and everybody else. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to try squeeze in a minor video if I can. It's a lot of work it takes to do that. And then Thursday will be the whale allocations, and I'll see if I can do a little bit for some other names too, but it'll be mostly Bitcoin. And then Friday Fire, that's the week. So I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you for everything. Have a good night. Bye-bye.